Hello and welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel, an editorial discussion for 29th May 2022. My name is Harsh Singh, and in this video we shall discuss an editorial from yesterday's The Hindu, which is titled Disability and the Barriers to Feminine Hygiene. This editorial discussion will entail the marginalization of the disabled females, and especially those who are from the poorer backgrounds, and the ways in which this mainstreaming can happen. Mainstreaming of providing products and services of feminine hygiene. If you like this initiative, share some love through likes, comments, and shares. Let's discuss. See, menstrual hygiene and hygiene management is a very important aspect of female health. If avoided, this can lead to morbidity, that means disease condition, and it can also further lead to deaths. And this is what has been demonstration multiple times through reports and even movies. If you've watched the movie Padman, you would be able to relate to it. And that is the reason that menstrual products, as simple as availability of the sanitary pads, has been prioritized for women. Urban area, rural area, all of them. Government itself is prioritizing these products. But tell me one thing, is this product available for those people who are disabled, who are mentally challenged, or who have got capabilities that they cannot see or they cannot hear, or locomotor disability? This is definitely a question, right? And to add to it, if this person, the one who is disabled, belongs to a marginalized community like poor community residing in rural areas or far flung areas in forested areas, those people will be further marginalized. Imagine, this is a triple whammy, a triple burden to the people, especially female. Being a female, accessibility to health products is less. Over that, being from a community which is disabled, and over and above, if the person is from poorer community, this is further segregation and marginalization. And see, India has as many as 2.2% of population who are disabled. At least half of them, we expect them to be female, and they all must receive these kind of services. Are they receiving? No. See, there is an act 2016, there was an act passed by the parliament which spoke about providing services and products for the people who are disabled, right? And the act itself says that these kind of disabilities are multifaceted: physical, mental, intellectual, sensory. And when they seek some kind of aid, some kind of rights, and they are not provided, right, then this leads to further segregation, right? Firstly, if these people are impaired, which they have lesser abilities, this leads to lesser participation in social activities. They are segregated in social activities. We agree, a blind person will not be able to participate in certain games, so they are segregated naturally. But then if there are social and cultural barriers, then they would be further segregated in asking for their requirements and needs. A simple example is, if a person with the menstrual needs, right, if they are seeking these needs and they are not being made to enter the kitchen itself, how would they be able to help themselves? Suppose in a society where there is male parochial society and the female herself serves the whole family, she has to serve herself as well. If she's not made to enter the kitchen, how will she be able to eat some food for herself during these menstrual cycle periods? So these are the cultural barriers in the country, right? And this leads to further segregation and exclusion of the person. You can use a logic like this while you talk of answers of how the communities get marginalized. The same thing happens to a community in rural areas, poor people, or communities from weaker caste sections, etc., where there is discrimination. And so once there is impairment, physical or mental impairment, and there's lesser participation, and then social cultural barriers, this leads to further exclusion. So a logical flow and leads to further marginalization of people, right? You can apply this to all the sections who are getting marginalized, and this leads to magnified vulnerabilities, the rights that the act spoke of, and the intent was good, but then the realization is not happening. So there's a huge gap between our thoughts and actions, right? And over and above our unscientific notions, our culture provides for certain notions, prejudices, misconceptions, and preconceived notions which are possibly unscientific, and they further exclude the society people. For example, when I was small, I had heard somebody given in logic that if one donates their eyes, the next birth that they have, that person will not have eyes. Now this is very insanely illogical, and but then it can actually influence a lot of people. Similarly, there are thoughts that how can a person who is physically locomotor disabled, can how can they lead a normal life? How can a person who's a blind can groom a person, a small child, or have a family? These kind of notions exist in society, and people consider the people who are differently able as asexual and unsuitable for marriage, incapable of raising children. So these kind of prejudices exist in society, and this leads to further marginalization. Imagine our social prejudices. For example, a female during menstrual cycle cannot enter a kitchen. She cannot go to a temple. Fine, there must be some logic. But then accessing basic needs of food, this cannot be done, right? But then this is actually being practiced in the country. Hygiene management, good health, health seeking behavior, this people will not seek healthy behavior in case they are not provided some promotions for this, right? Especially those communities which are disabled, they will never even speak about it. Now simple example of this is from Beed in Maharashtra. Females here who are workers in the sugarcane industry, as many as 13,000 females, they got through operation removed their female reproductive parts just because they could participate in agricultural activities, right? So the idea here was that it is not only socially linked, that economically linked as well. If you have regular menstrual cycles, you will not be able to participate in economic activities. This is what the contractors or the people who were owning this business said, sugarcane business. So they participated. So you can very well see how female products and female health is getting marginalized because of not only social but economical barriers. This is not done at all. So this is where United Nations Population Fund and Water Aid, an NGO, all of them have come together, and they have said we would identify certain ways to help the female population. So suggested four important measures. The first measure that they say is we have to become solution based depending on the segregations of society. See, the disability is multifaceted, no? If a person does not have eyesight, then they will need hygiene products delivered in a different way. So while the people who are the people without any disability, they get menstrual products and demonstration is right ahead of them. It's not like that for the people with the no eyesight. If you have visual impairment, then they can touch the product, they can feel what it is, and after that audio explanations can be given. Similarly, if the person is hearing impaired, audio explanations won't do, so we will have to show them in front of them, right, through TV or live demonstrations. Similarly, there are menstrual products which must be promoted depending on the kind of disability. A simple example of this is intellectual impairment. If the person is intellectually impaired, they would not like to touch rough products, they will feel further irritated, so give them softer products. Similarly, a person is not able to move, give them those type of menstrual products which can be worn for longer. See, this is simpler, this is as simple as it can get, but all is required is to implement this and to make everybody aware about this. The third is just providing them menstrual products like sanitary pads won't do. We will also have to deliver the services of water, sanitation, and hygiene everywhere. It is being done in schools. It must be done at all the other places, community kitchens or health facilities or regular places, yeah, along the roads and in rural areas also. And accessibility designing must be done. Accessibility designing, especially for differently abled persons, right? Because we are trying to mainstream the marginal community. And the fourth is the people who participate along with the marginal sections who are caregivers. Caregivers are not only people who support through institutional means or people who are into NGOs, but also family people. All of them are participants and partners. So their idea must be to remove the stigma against marginal sections people, and also expand reach of the rights. And when this intervention is done, focus intervention on all the kind of disabled community, and this is how we facilitate their inclusion and participation. And one important way in which inclusion can happen is through providing menstrual products and services to marginalized communities, especially the disabled community, right? So a very important aspect. See this, you might feel that this is 1% of India's population, all right, but do you know what is the population of 1% of India? This is 135 crore. 1% is 1.35 crore population. Yeah, this is the size of countries. So this is a very big population, and India must address to this. These are important issues of GS paper 1, GS paper 2, 3, be it governance, society, social issues, economy, all of them can be catered through this, right? So state 4 interventions, a question for you. State 4 interventions to help to provide better menstrual health services to differently abled community in India. Whenever you see a question in UPSC exam, you would be able to relate some aspect of it or the other from this particular discussion. So keep noting down the important things that you see, because the presentation has been carved in a very specific way. So if you like this initiative, share some love through likes, comments, and shares. And if you got some questions, put it down in the comment section. We'll ensure to get back. Thank you for watching.